I like it.
Okay.
Okay. I'd like to welcome everybody to tonight's meeting, Tuesday, May 5th, 2026. We're going to go into closed session shortly. Regular meeting will start at 6 p.m. Janice, would you like to call roll?
Councilmember Atlan.
Here.
Councilmember Lefane. Here. Councilmember Mitchell.
Here.
Vice Mayor Rhodes.
Here.
And Mayor Maida.
Here. Okay, I'm going to continue on with public comment before closed session. I'm going to continue to do it before and after. So if anybody has public comment before closed session,
There aren't that many people here. Good evening.
items not on the agenda.
Closed session.
On closed session items, yes.
Right, okay. Good evening, Marcia Enoch. The city attorney came out of closed session at the last meeting and mentioned council gave him authority to provide some information to the public relating to the lawsuit against our council member. And the information he provided was rather self-serving to the city and neglected to address two important topics. While he mentioned there was a settlement offer made, which included payment arrangements and mediation attempts, he failed to address how Mr. Aguilera had come to have the information on that settlement offer before it was announced at the last meeting. And I recall several months ago that the city attorney mentioned that council voted unanimously to submit a complaint to the grand jury for alleged closed session violations. So my question is, I presume this has been sent to the grand jury, and if it has not, why not? The second issue, after the comments were made, is why has there still not been any disclosure to the public on the amount of attorney's fees the council has budgeted for the law firm to pursue this matter? The last White Brenner invoice that the city received for this lawsuit was dated February 6th. That's now 3 months ago. And it was $25,000, give or take. So who knows how much that legal bill is now, given 3 months have passed and nothing's been updated. So council members, I have a question to you. Are you being kept apprised of the increasing attorney's fees on this litigation? Or are you in the dark as the public is? At a minimum, in my opinion, this is a classic case of hide the ball, at least insofar as the public is concerned anyway. And I'd like to know what legal justification there can be to keeping the public in the dark as to how our tax dollars are being spent in regard to this litigation or any other. Also, I was going to repeat everything that I said at the previous meeting, but I know I'm going to run out of time, but there was no video. So a couple of things that I did say, which I think are worth mentioning again. I do have a fax machine and I've allowed multiple
Totally off
people.
topic. We are totally off topic here. When you're talking about going back to that regarding your fax machine, we're on
You
closed session
absolutely
only.
correct. Sorry, you're right. I'll save that. Okay, that's all I have in regard to the litigation.
Okay, any more closed session? Okay, we'll close public comment. We have 3 items on the agenda tonight. Closed session, closed session agenda, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, City of Ione versus Allison and Fane. Number 2, we have conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, 1 potential case. Number 3, we have conference with real property negotiators, agency negotiators, George Lee, city manager, and the negotiating parties are Castle Oaks Partners, LLC. Okay, so we'll go ahead and convene to closed session. Thank you.
I will be recusing myself from the first item. It is ongoing litigation, and I have a vested financial interest in making money. Just being a smart ass.
Welcome, everybody.
Wait for Josh.
We'd like to, we're going to reconvene to open session. So would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Okay, we'd like to report out a closed session. Waiting for Josh here. Okay, we'll wait a second for him. Direction was given. Okay, Josh, report out a closed session, please. Direction was given.
Yes, good.
Information given, direction received.
Okay, all right, great. All right, we'd like to offer public comment after a closed session, please. Anybody want to comment on the items on closed session only? Okay, no public comment. Do we have a motion for the approval of the agenda? I'll make a
I'd like to
motion.
pull some things from the agenda.
Okay, what would you like to pull?
Well, here's why. 300 and whatever it is, 324 pages in the agenda. Some very important stuff, budgets, protocol manual, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I actually wanted to pull a whole bunch of stuff because there isn't any staff reports with it. But if I do that, there will be nothing. So I would like to pull the number 6, the protocol manual. I'd like to pull number 7 because I'd like a staff report on that one. I think everything else, actually like to pull number 5, but probably get outvoted on that one because I have a bunch of questions. But no, let me just stick with 6 and 7 and that'll do it. 6 and 7 for me, just to make the meeting go quicker.
Okay, Dominic would like to pull number 6 and 7. All those in favor? Say aye.
Is there a second?
Second?
I'll second. I'd like to hear just justification is there's no priority on these because this is a heavy agenda. And I'll tell you, I didn't get through all of these pages. So who put these items on the agenda? And I'm just
We
curious.
have a motion on the floor.
I'm curious as to why these items landed.
We have a first and a second. All those in favor? Say
Okay,
aye.
I'd like to pull them items as well then.
I mean,
Well, first you have a motion and a second to remove items.
first and second on the motion to move 6 and 7. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? No.
No.
What a surprise.
What a surprise. So we're going to be here till midnight
What it takes.
because we don't have enough information to make decisions. So we're going to have to ask a lot of questions.
Okay. No presentations, no announcements, public comment. Please be mindful of the 4-minute time limit per person pursuant to the Brown Act. The city council may not take action or engage in a detailed discussion on an item that does not appear on the agenda. However, matters that require council action will be referred to staff for report and or recommendation for possible action at a future council meeting. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address the council at this time? So it's open for public comment, please.
Hi, council members. My name is Ellen Brittingham. I just wanted to take the opportunity tonight to introduce myself to the public and yourselves. I'm your new local government affairs representative with PG&E. I've had the opportunity already to meet with your city manager today just to touch base and exchange priorities and all of that. So I look forward to continuing the partnership that PG&E has with the city of Ione and being a resource to you and the city. So I have some business cards I can leave with the clerk if you'd like to have that.
Please do. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Epperson.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just a little update from the county stuff. So The Amber County did approve the Community Wildfire Protection Plan that was approved last meeting. And so that will be in effect. That actually is a document that any of the entities can use to gain access to grants, et cetera. A lot of really good information and very detailed. And it incorporates a lot of state, private, and federal agencies that basically they categorize the fuel load in the forest in our entire county. And so if you need to get places that you want to mitigate, you can use that plan, go in there and dig around a little bit, and it has a lot of very useful tools in it. Also, there are bids out for paving on Buena Vista Road between 124 and 88. So that pretty bumpy rough patch that should be paved here this summer before things are over. But the bids are out right now. They should, I think, about 5 or 6 weeks. And when they're done, we'll be paving that as soon as possible. We also finished, I'm all dressed up because we finished our budget today, our final draft of our 25-26 budget, nice balanced budget too. We had some pretty draconian cuts, but we got through it. I want to thank the Sheriff's Office and the DA and all of our partners in the county government for taking cuts where they could. It was a very much a team effort. Also, there's been a lot of conversation about the power plant out there. And I'm not taking a position on anything. People write stuff all the time and they just say stuff, but the power plant right now is operating under its 10-year permitting process. It's got 6 years left on it. They're operating underneath that permit. There's a lot of proposals out there, a lot of things they're talking about doing. None of that stuff is actionable. It'll come to the planning commission and then they'll work through that process. That may kick off this fall or it may not. I'm not sure on a real timeline. They are planning on test firing the plant. The last date I have was May 17th, so in a week or two here. If everything's on schedule, that's when they presumably will fire the plant up. It will start running. And then they already have water and everything else. It's just a matter of that is all done. It's been done for years. But when the next phase comes in, that's when the public will be more involved. And again, I'm not taking a position. I have no preference on one way or the other. I'm a jurist, so I have to be a little bit careful about that. Also, the East Bay Mud is in the middle of their FERC licensing project or relicensing period. Public comment period is open, I believe, until June 3rd. And that's the opportunity for the public that if you would like to have any discussion or any comments about what East Bay Mud is doing with their property. And it's a pretty good sized document, but if you go through there, you will see the tabs that might be of interest. In those comments, the city can make comment or any citizens can. And it basically has to do with their power generation out at the East Bay Mud from roughly Highway 49 on down to the end of where the dam is down there. And it goes on the Delta too, but the licensing area is a pretty specific area. So with that, I'll conclude my comments and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Dan?
Okay, public comment continues.
Good evening again. I'll try a second time. At last meeting, we didn't have the video, unfortunately, of comments that were made before council went into closed session. And I'm not going to repeat everything that I said, but I do feel like some of what I said is important so that there is a record of it on tape. I do have a fax machine. I know everybody's heard this. And I've allowed several people to use it. And that includes Councilmember LaFane. And I'm still bewildered. I'm forever going to be bewildered on how doing something nice for someone in the community, whether it's my neighbor next door, somebody down the street, in another community, or even at Lake Comanche, can somehow be distorted to be negative. I'm very thankful for the people who've stepped up to help me in the past. Mr. Caputo isn't here, but I guess he can listen to this tape. He did something nice for me in November last year, and I very much appreciated it. And I want to be that kind of person too. So I did something nice, and I will continue to do it again. Insofar as my name was all over that document, which was really disturbing by our city attorney, of course, my name or fax number, I think both, is on the top of the document. It's called a fax header. Just so for anybody who's not familiar with fax machines, because they are kind of obsolete. At the top, you've got the date and time sent, the number of pages, and where it came from. And the only thing I had to do with that document is it went through my fax machine. That's it. So I really don't appreciate, I think it's disingenuous for the city manager to say that I'm working in covert and it's being staged. I think that it was inappropriate for the city attorney to make the accusation that he did, that my name is all over that document when it just went through my fax machine. I think that you've stooped to an all-time low when verbal accusations are made against a member of the public merely for doing something nice for someone else in the community. As I said before, I've never voiced an opinion on the legitimacy or the merits of this lawsuit, and I'm not going to do it tonight because I really don't know. My issue has been and continues to be related to the amount of the attorney's fees that are being spent. And again, I pointed out earlier, we haven't seen a bill from the White Brenner Law Firm for 3 months. So it was around 25,000. We don't know what it is currently. I would have this position on being concerned on the attorney's fees, regardless of what lawsuit is involved, whether it's this one or any other one, because I think that when the attorney's fees exceed the amount that is being requested, then you've lost sight of what is in the best interest of the public. And maybe you should take a look at the City of Stockton's ordinance. I think it's 5.06, which addresses when it is appropriate, and there is a law that if a debt is owed or money is thought to be paid or there's a lien, that if it's in the public's
30
best
seconds.
interest, that the city council is authorized to not pursue it, to release a lien, or to whatever. And maybe this city could take some guidance. Take a look at the City of Stockton's ordinance. Again, I believe it's 5.06. Thank you.
Anybody on Zoom, Jess? Okay, thank you.
I don't know if anyone else noticed, but the light fixture, I don't want it hurting anyone.
Been that way for
it's-
like 12 years.
Okay, it's the first time I noticed it. But good evening, everyone. My name is Patricia Andija. I am the treasurer for Amador's Heart of Gold. And I just wanted to let you all know that we will be helping out with Kids Corner at Ione Homecoming on Saturday from 11 to 4. We are going to have it dedicated to both Logan Wilkerson. We're going to have Logan's Lemonade Lounge and also have Mighty Mateo's Magic Show, as well as many other fun activities for the kids. So I hope you guys will come and visit us at Homecoming, and we'll see you there. Thanks.
Thank you, Patricia.
You.
Any more public comment? Hey, Patty.
Patty Fisher, Mizuraka, Mount Echo Drive. I'm coming to council to see if we can get any more headway in getting 15 Plymouth Highway switched to multi-use. I came in February of 2025, met with the Planning Commission in March of 2025. Susan Peters at that time said she would have it done in 60 days. That would have been May of 2025. That's where we're at a year later. We're rolling on that house, and it's probably going to be done, say, within the next 3 to 4 months. After that point, I won't be able to sell it without getting that lot switched back to either a residence or multi-use. I can't sell a house that's commercial property. I know you have a lot on your plate, and I'm sorry, but this is going to get to the point where it's going to be costing me to hold it. Holding costs are going to be large once a 1,700 square foot house is put there. And if anybody does the math, they know what that costs. So I need an auto pen or something to get it switched. That house was never commercial property. It never should have been commercial property. It just needs to be fixed. I think there's a few other people in town that are in the same boat I am, but they're not trying to sell their house. So any help would greatly be appreciated. Thanks.
Thanks, Pat.
Thank you.
Patty.
More public comment? Okay, we'll move on to information items. In our packets, we have March and April Building Department report. And from there, we're going to go to the consent calendar. On the consent calendar, we have the approval of minutes, the warrants, and the adoption of resolution number 2026-14, approving the fiscal year 2025 budget amendment for installation of shade sails at the amphitheater and construction of handicap parking at Howard Park.
I'd like to pull 2 and 3.
Okay, we'd like to have pull 2 and 3. Any issues? Okay,
No, I was gonna ask for 2, so.
excuse me?
You can take a motion on one.
Make a motion to approve item number 1 of the consent calendar.
Okay, have a motion.
Can.
Okay, we have first and second on number 1. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
I have nothing on 2. I just wanted to pull it so I could separate the vote. So,
I don't even know what that means.
because I don't want to vote no on all 3 items.
Oh, okay.
okay, anybody want to pull the warrants? I mean, look at the warrants, talk on them? Councilman Member LaFane? He does.
Yes.
Okay,
Just a couple quick questions. I see, so we're sending another $2,900 to Telstar, but nobody can find a contract for this company. So how do we approve their invoices if we have no contract to compare the scope of work to? I mean, we've paid them hundreds of thousands of dollars and there's no contract.
Contract is through Waterstone. So Waterstone has asked.
So it's a subcontractor of Waterstone?
Waterstone has the right to bid out subcontract certain things, and they've done to do that.
I think we need to revisit that because we have. So does Waterstone approve them?
Yes.
So Waterstone approves these invoices before they come to you?
Right.
And they sign off on them?
Right.
Okay, I'd like to see that paperwork. Because I believe they were there before Waterstone arrived.
Don't think so.
I see that we keep getting credits from RRM Design on the master plan. Is that a reimbursement back because we did indeed pay them $89,000 up front?
That's not a reoccurring, that's something that stays on the report, just like if we don't pay a warrant, it stays on the report every month until it gets resolved. That's a credit we have. We did not pay them up front. I think we paid them 4 or 5 invoices over the months. So that credit's on there until we get another billing from them.
I'm gonna find that because I know we paid them $89,000. But that was last year. Okay, last. So $138,000 for the amphitheater. Are those for the shades?
Mhm.
28,000. Those are for the shades, correct? Is that being reimbursed by the water board grant?
No.
No, okay. Let me look. I see the PG&E bill at the arena was over $600. Is that being put towards the expense? Okay. That's all I have.
okay. Anybody else want to speak on the warrants? No? Okay, we have a motion to approve the warrants.
Make a motion to approve the warrants. Second.
First and second, approve the warrants. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
No.
Okay, number 3, adoption of resolution number 2026-14, approving the fiscal year 2025-26 budget amendment for installation of shade sails at the amphitheater and construction of handicap parking at Howard Park.
Yeah, I pulled this one because I think this should be on next year's budget. What you're asking us to do here is to make a budget amendment for our current budget, which is 1 month left of the fiscal year, pretty much. So I think that this should just wait until it gets properly budgeted for. And I'm going to be saying this a lot on the regular agenda item. We don't know, we haven't had a midterm budget report. We haven't had a 3/4 or 1/4 or a 1-day budget report. We have no idea where we're at with our budget. We don't know if we're over budget or under budget. If we're over budget, then we will now be another $60,000 over budget. What's typical when you do things like this is you have a budget report every month. That's on every committee I've ever been on. And you, or at least every quarter. And then you track your budget. And what happens is we get a staff report that says, well, we budgeted $60,000 for grass seed. We didn't use it this year. We would like to switch that grass seed into the shade sails in the parking lot. That's what I'd like to do. Can we do it? And then you vote on it, and it's a good reason to vote yes, you have the money. Right now, we don't know whether we bought the grass seed, and now we are going in the hole. So I think this should be, I voted no against it last time because of the same reason. This should be put into next year's budget. It's a month away. We should not be doing budget amendments on a budget that we've never even seen. That's my 2 cents.
Andrea, would you, this is coming out of Parks and Rec, correct? Would you mind stating what we have in Parks and Rec?
This is fine.
I can ask her to do this.
I didn't say you couldn't.
Well, you
I was
look at-
going to comment on this.
So there's a misconception when you say Park and Recs. There is no Park and Rec fund. There's a
Yes.
department. And where this is coming out of, this is, the only reason this budget amendment is being done is because it was approved at the last meeting to pay the invoices for these two items. So this is going to happen in 25, 26. So I need a budget amendment to reflect what council voted on. That's why the budget amendment is here. This is coming out of the fund balance that is for the impact fees for parks. So every time a developer builds a house, they pay impact fees. They have one for police, fire, parks, general. Anyhow, so you have a fund balance that originally in our budget, we had put a small amount there, I believe of 75,000 that was going to come out of that impact fee account that's had money sitting in it for years. So that's why the additional fees, the AWA grant went into the 4511 account, which is the Howard Park, which is basically a general fund account. And this additional spending is going to come out of the fund balance from the impact fees of the money that's sitting there. So it's not a Park and Rec. I want to make clear on that terminology because everybody keeps calling it the Park and Rec budget. This is park impact fees for capital improvement.
Thank you for clarification, Andrew.
I think I forwarded that email to you, didn't I, Mr. Atlan?
What email?
About your question about this item. So I did forward that to you.
I didn't ask the question yet, but
Well, I have the email, so I can.
I'll check. Yeah, thank you.
I have a quick question for the city attorney. At what point does it require a 2/3 vote for budget amendments?
That is not a 2/3 vote item.
Budget amendments are not a 2/3 vote item ever.
No. Happy to confirm it. That's never been my understanding of that's a majority vote item.
From the League of Cities as a reference, California League of Cities.
Oh, I'll look at it.
Councilor Mitchell, any comments?
No.
Vice Mayor Rhodes?
Nope.
Okay, public comment. Okay, there's no public comment, so let's see if we have a motion here.
I'll make a motion, we adopt resolution 2026-14.
Could we have a first on the motion on number 3 consent calendar?
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose.
No.
No.
Ayes have it. No, then moving down, we do not have a public hearing. So now we're going to start our agenda. We have 7 agenda items tonight. And number 1 on the agenda, it's my pleasure to, Mr. Bain is here today regarding to receive and accept the fiscal year audits for 2021, 2022, and 22-23 limited procedures report. If received and accepted, we will adopt resolution number 2026-11, accepting the fiscal years 2021 to 2022 and 2022 to 2023. Mr. Bain, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, my pleasure. Yeah, and just to clarify, the 21, 22 and 22, 23 fiscal years, they're not audited. So these are limited procedure that you have in front of you and you should have a copy of the procedures that were completed as well as the supporting documentation for those procedures. I'm here basically to answer any questions that you or the public might have on the work that was done for those fiscal years. So if you'd like, I could just briefly go over the
Please.
procedures, but yeah, okay.
Please do.
Yeah, so on the results of the engagement, the document that I believe you have dated January 20, 2026, the first service was reviewing the completeness of the capital asset schedule and the depreciation calculation and the roll forward from the prior year, just to make sure that the numbers that are rolling forward agreed to the underlying documentation. The next item was on the GASB 68 pension requirement, and as part of that schedule, we prepared taking the information from the actuary, which would be CalPERS, we put it into a format to prepare the journal entry, again, to reflect the deferred outflows, the net pension liability, and deferred inflows of the pension activity in your financial statements. The next item was basically the same thing as the GASB 68, but for the OPEB, which is GASB 75. And again, we took the information from your actuary and put it into a form where we created the journal entry to properly reflect the activity of the GASB 75. The next item was the GASB 87. And this the only item that required any work on GASB 87, which was new for June 30, 2022, was on the golf course lease. So we prepared the maturity analysis and recorded the long-term lease receivable and the short-term receivable on the books for the golf course lease. And then we reconciled the long-term debt and again made sure that your books reflected that activity. And then on the second to last item, we reviewed the roll forward balances from from June 30, 2023, which would be the beginning balances of July 1, 2023 for the 23-24 audit, which is currently in progress. Okay. And then we reviewed the ACRA activity, and that was per the auditor controller for Amador County's request. So that was the last item on the list there.
Thank you, sir. Council member comments? I'd like to make one little quick brief comment before somebody speaks that these folks have worked diligently downtown, down in our offices here, including our own staff, Andrea, Jane, and I thank you so much. I've seen you in there quite often, a lot, working very, very hard. So, and we are much better than we were last year when we were talking about these audits. So thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Yes.
I got a couple of questions.
Okay.
What's the deferred outflow and deferred inflow for OPEB? What I'd like to know is, in the last budget, they spell out our long-term liabilities, and it was like $8 million.
Mhm.
Here, it doesn't really get spelled out. It's just a number in one of the pages. So So what page is our liability for our CalPERS pension and our OPEB, which is health benefits?
Sure.
So what page is that on?
Yeah, now I believe you have the unaudited financial statements for June 30, 2022 and 23. So if you go to page 1 of the unaudited June 30, 2022, this would be the government-wide financial statements. And you'll see there the deferred outflow of the OPEB of 609,000 for the governmental funds and 99,000 for sewer.
Right, so you're saying it's 600,000 because the last budget was 1.7 million.
Yeah, and that's
How did
really
it-
not a budget item. The
No,
budget,
sorry, the last audit, excuse me, misspoke. So the audit before this, that has it spelled out on a page, is at 1.7 million.
okay.
Okay, now it looked a little low here. How did it get from 1.7 million to about 800,000 is my question.
Yeah, so we prepare a schedule and it's based on the actuary information, and the things that drive the deferred outflow could be something like a change in the expected, the life expectancy of the annuitants that are retired, the expected investment income versus the actual, things of that nature. And so this is a number that is prepared by the actuary. And if you'd like, I could provide you a copy of the actuary report.
So you're going to be wrapped up with the next budget in August. Is that the time frame?
Say that again.
The budget, the full budget that you're, excuse me, budget, the full audit that you're doing is going to be ready in August. Is that correct?
As far as the 23, 24 audit.
Yes.
24, the current audit that I'm working on right now, I would expect to be ready by June or July.
Okay, so then I can just, I can wait for that. That's, and then I can do apples to apples. So-
Sure, yeah, because
So-
that number will fluctuate
Right.
from year to year.
Right. I know you got a lot of work and I don't want to add to it.
Yeah,
Other question I got is, and this is going to come up later on because this is a topic. So we've on page, this is combining balance sheet. So the railroad depot in 1 year is minus 161,000. And then the very next year it's plus 30,000 because there was a $200,000 transfer,
mhm,
operating transfer. Okay.
okay, yep,
So operating transfers in. That's what is categorized at. So what's that? I mean, and so then when you look back further, you'll find that they took it out of what Andrew was just talking about earlier. So they took the 200,000 out of the Parks Impact Fund and they put it into the Railroad Park Fund, right? To get rid of that big negative.
yeah.
So is that
Are you
part-
looking at June 30, 2022 or 23?
Well, in 2022, it's minus 161.
Minus 161.
And then the 23 one, it goes to like 35,000
Right.
positive. There's a giant swing.
Yeah, and that's on page, the balance sheet, just for the rest of you, that's on page 13, where the railroad fund is on page 13 of the,
Right.
I believe both years would be.
Yeah, it's
page
36,000.
So, yeah, so I would have to review that activity. Again, yeah, in 2023, there was a $200,000 operating transfer in to the railroad fund, and that created the positive cash in that fund for the year. But I would have to review that activity. Again, these financial statements are unaudited.
Sure. So what that means is that these aren't guaranteed. That's what that means, right? You can't swear that this is correct because you don't really know, because you can only go on what you've been provided by the city. So, but I would like to, that's one of them. I had a bunch of questions. That's why I wanted to slim down the agenda, but I'm going to stop right there.
Sure.
There's a bunch of things like that. And there was a bunch of things like that in last year's budget where there's all these operating transfers, no paperwork, no explanation. You know, there should be operating transfer and it was for this reason. And here's all of the invoices that we spent the $200,000 on. And we're going to get to that at another item, but I would, if you could follow up on that one,
Yeah.
that's an easy one. I'd appreciate it. And I got a lot of questions, but I'm not going to waste everyone's time. So thank you very much.
Yep, you're welcome.
Councilmember LaFane?
We'll hold my questions for now.
Okay, Councilmember Mitchell.
No, I appreciate the work. I've seen you in there. I was worried they weren't feeding you a couple days. I mean, you weren't seeing any daylight.
Well,
But
we found a good deli across the street, so, yeah.
But I appreciate the work and certainly moving us forward. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And I know you've had a long road ahead of you because this has been screwed up for 15, 20 years. So thank you.
You're welcome. Sure.
My exact thoughts, my same sentiments. Would we open up for public comment, please?
Okay, my name is Susan Priest. I live in Castle Oaks. And one of the things I think you said already was
Ma'am, if you could step to the microphone.
the audited balance sheet of 6/30/21 was used as your opening balance.
Correct.
And so there's that $11,000 that you found. That's how you found it. There's a prior year correction.
Okay.
Is that right? So.
I'd have to go back and.
Okay, I looked at it really briefly, I didn't have a lot of time. And then, another thing I wanted to ask is the accounting software that's being used by the city, has the ability to accurately, report the financial activities of the city. So like budget to actual, I mean, it's got all the necessary bells and whistles, like for just to give these guys the reports they're asking for, like budget to actual.
Right.
It could do things like, do projects. So you could give it a project number and you could tell revenue that came in from a grant and the expenditures that are made against that grant. All those capabilities are there. Is that-
It's a fund accounting program, so
Right.
there's a self-balancing set of accounts per fund. And it does have that capability, it does have budgeting capability, and it,
So those reports, if they're capable in the system, should be something that should just be, let's run this report as of this date.
you would expect, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, that was one of my questions. And then my other question is, do you feel like the accounting staff have been appropriately trained on this software? And are they efficient in the use of the software?
Yes, so the internal accounting staff does have experience with the software. I know the reports that I'm requesting, I'm getting in a timely manner. And then there's the outside consultant as well, who is familiar with the software. And that would be Jane Wright, and does assist the city as needed.
Yeah, so I'm just kind of confused as to why they can't get, like Dominic always wants a report. And I'm kind of confused why those reports just can't be run. And I work for the county of Sacramento and I could run a report by myself,
Of course.
you know, from my desk in minutes. So
Right.
I'm just wondering why we can't seem to do that here.
I really wouldn't be able to speak to that. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But they are familiar and the capability is in the software.
From what I've seen, yes, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And I know I've been provided trial balances and I set up an import tab on my financials. And so when everything flows in, the funds are in balance and things are where
Okay,
where I would expect them to be.
okay,
Mhm.
that was good. And then my last question is, was there a lot of adjustments that needed to be made on these? I know unaudited financial statements, but did you find a lot of adjustments or did the staff find a lot of adjustments that needed to be made?
So the adjustments that I made to these financial statements are specified in the services provided. So I made adjustments to the capital assets, to the pension, the GASB 68, the OPEB, and everything, all the services provided here. Outside of that was beyond the scope of
What you did, I read
what
that.
I did
So
here.
you didn't tie out receivables? You
No,
didn't do any of that?
no.
Now, for the beginning of next year's audit, you're gonna go down and you're gonna reconcile like, for instance, you're gonna check the bank reconciliation, you're gonna check the detailed list of the accounts receivable. You're gonna do all those audit things
For the beginning.
for the beginning balance, so you're gonna be able to express an actual opinion on this next year.
For a good starting point. And yeah, I mean, it's a little premature for me to be giving audit results or anything.
I'm not asking for audit
24.
results. I'm saying-
However, I can tell you there may be a scope limitation because of what you're describing there.
I'm going to extend your time, okay? The time's up, but go ahead, keep going.
Thank you. Yeah, there's not like a complete list of accounts payable. There's some missing invoices, like in July of 2023 that would relate to beginning balance. So again, I'm not, I'm
You're
not
not in a position to
completed with
say,
the audit
you
at
can
this
express
point.
opinion,
But-
there's an adverse
But
opinion.
there may
if
be
that's the plan.
some, there may be some,
Qualified opinion, I understand that, but
Exactly,
you'll be able to express some kind of opinion.
correct, yes.
That was my
That I will
question.
be able to do.
Okay, thank you,
Yeah,
that was my.
You're
question.
welcome.
That's-
Okay,
Thank you, Sue. Thank you, Mr. Bain.
okay.
Any more public comment? Okay, I guess we'll close public comment. Any more comments from council members?
I have none.
Okay, does anybody consider making a motion here?
We'll make a motion. We accept the fiscal years 2021, 2022, and 2022, 2023 limited procedures report.
Okay, we have a first, we have a second.
Second.
We have a first and second. All those in favor say aye. Oppose?
No.
Okay, ayes have it. So we'll go to number 2.
Thank you.
Okay.
Receive and
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bain. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to be rude to you. I appreciate you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bain.
Number 2, receive and accept the Train Depot grant report. Debbie Mackey, Grant Coordinator. Adopt resolution number 2026-14, authorizing a budget amendment to the fiscal year 2025-2026 capital budget. And how we have Debbie Mackey. Thank you.
It'll be Andrea and I.
And Andrea.
Yes. Andrea has the budget amendment for you. I have the portion of the train depot, the grant that we had received. We've expended the funds for that. We've received the majority, I think it was right around $127,000 last month. And we'll be receiving the remainder of that grant money from the grant, about $50,000. And then we have our portion of it that we have the 20%. So, but to move forward with this, we're going to need to do a grant amendment, and Andrea has that information and that request.
So the staff report you have before you talks about basically the grant that we received when we received it. And Debbie was able to get our first reimbursement. You'll notice on the documentation that was presented, those were things that were expended for previous years. They had been started several times but never completed, so she was able to get it completed to get that first reimbursement. So you'll also notice in that it talks about what the project was going to be and how much the city was going to budget towards that project as part of our approval. And that's where that they had it, that we were going to commit $355,904 and also another $249,44 from the city, which since we've been using volunteers, I don't think we're going to need that. But we brought before you a budget amendment for 150, which will get us through, shows that we did our commitment as we said we were going to the grant. And anything that doesn't get spent, or if more is spent, we'll address that in the budget for the upcoming budget 26-27.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the council? Council member LaFane.
This was a grant from the State of California Department of Natural Resources, Parks and Rec. Did any of this go out to an RFP?
Back in the years when they did this originally, 21, in 2018.
Through my research, I did not find any RFPs on it. So a lot of pulling this grant together was going through a lot of different files. There were amendments done to it and extensions, things like that. So I did not find any RFPs. The intention from what I could read from it, this was going to be done by volunteers. But as far as any RFPs for specific portions of it, I did not find any.
What are, if any, the uses stipulated for a State of California grant?
So in this grant, because there's been a lot of amendments done to it, the original, I didn't apply, I did not go through all of that. I did qualify all of these expenses, and these expenses have been approved by the by my representative and then their boss for being able to do these purchases.
And lunch is involved in that?
I'm sorry?
And lunches are
I
involved?
I don't believe lunches are involved.
Well, there's $560 here for lunches.
Okay, and I'm not sure what that line item was, or what is it referring to? Does it say lunches?
Yeah, it's on the qualifying.
Okay.
It was approved.
It says
Okay.
volunteer lunches
Okay.
reimbursement.
For the volunteers, yes. So for the volunteers, that was, yeah. I was thinking you were meeting for the workers that we were doing for the contracts that were being done.
Okay. So we're not following any sort of policy or steps that the grant lays out as to the use of these funds?
So I took this over in, what was it, 2024? The majority of these expenses were previously incurred. So everybody who has been working on this project are the ones that have been being paid. So I inherited it as it is and have went ahead and moved forward with it according to what my representatives have guided me to do.
That's probably no, huh?
Well, no, they're the ones who approve it. I've worked diligently with,
Representatives, the State Water Board?
this isn't the State Water Board, no.
I'm sorry, I'm getting mixed up with
So-
the other grant.
Yeah. No, so this grant, yeah, I have two representatives that I work with through this, and we went line by line because they had to do a lot of work with me as far as catching me up to where we're at and the amendments and things like that were done. So
Thank you.
Councilmember Atlan.
Yes, you got here under discussion. First of all, thank you for your work, both of you. And I know that a lot of this stuff was done before, you were here. So I'm asking you questions that got nothing to do with you, I'm sure, but just trying to get some answers. It says here that you discovered reimbursement requests had not been fully completed with the state of California. What does that mean? That nobody submitted a reimbursement?
correct.
Okay. And when was that? When should it have been done?
You could have been doing it all along. So it would have been as the work was being performed, you could have submitted multiple as whenever you wanted the reimbursements.
So there is not like, say, 5 or 6 drills that you could do. As you spend it, you can get a reimbursement.
Well, that is my understanding of it. When I came into it, we were playing catch up.
Sure.
So when I came into it, we just worked through with what we had.
Got it. The other thing, so what you're asking for is $150,000. The city committed, so on page 20, the city committed $355,904 from the parks impact fee, $249 from the general fund. Okay. So was that just a commitment or was that an actual expense? So have we spent those dollar amounts? Because all I know that you've spent so far is about the 188, which is on, which is on this list. So the commitments from the city, have we spent those?
No.
Or is that just a commitment?
No, that was an original part of the application process that John Hankin signed. And so all we have spent, well, I can't say that. The 188 is up to, gosh, what was it? Whatever the last date is on that.
Right.
We've incurred expenses since then,
Right.
but the city has not paid anything other than we've been turning everything into this grant, but our 20% will be, we have reached that point.
Right. So on October the 6th, 2020, the city committed 355,904 out of park impact fees.
Right.
And I assume, because it says not determined, they committed the general fund money as well, right? So if they haven't actually spent that money, shouldn't there have been a budget adjustment in 2020 or 2021, putting the money back where it should have come from? The answer to that is yes. The other thing is, well, we just know from the audit, thanks to Mr. Bain, that we've already spent $200,000 because we've done a transfer. So has that been taken into account as well?
So I'm not sure where the $200,000 came. There was a lot of mix-up with the railroad and the train depot. We had to go in and had to separate both of those to make sure that the expenses were for the depot and then that the railroad expenses were for the railroad. So I'm not sure where that $200,000 comes from, if that's the railroad or if it's a mixture of depot and railroad. But we've had to go in and make sure and qualify everything that this is dealing specifically with the depot.
Right. So the depot or the depot park?
So yes, Depot Park, not the
Not the
railroad.
depot, because we
Yeah.
gave that to someone else. They're supposed to take care of that.
That's
Yeah.
it.
So where I'm at is, I don't like doing a budget amendment on a budget that's 1 month from being over. I'm okay to commit funds because we already agreed to do that in 2020 and I was on board with that. So I'm okay to commit the funds. I've already approved that. But I would like to know how much money we've actually spent at that park before I commit any more funds, or, we've committed the funds, but we haven't yet spent them. But there seems like a lot of confusion on what have we actually done and what have we spent, and where, more importantly for me, is, well, what have we got left? Because if we're going to spend this, which I already agreed to, and that's it, and the park's done, the park's open, I'm good. But if you're going to keep coming to me, no offense to you, every month, or whoever's in charge, and say, like we're now getting with the police station, that, oh, I'm going to need 400,000, I'm going to need another 100,000, I'm going to need another. I just want to know what I'm going to commit to. So
You're going to commit to the 150. That's it. That's nothing else, nothing more. This will not
That's it.
come close to finishing this park. I mean, we have.
yeah, I'd like to know what it's going to cost to
We're
fix.
we're gonna have, it'll be done to the point where we can open it. And we are,
So for George, you just said, so for 150,000, we get to open the park,
Correct.
right? But what about the other 790? You don't need that anymore?
that's what's remaining in the fund.
Yeah, but we don't need it. If you can open the park for 150, why do you need the 790?
We don't. 790, they're just giving you a balance of what's remaining.
No, these are fees that the city committed to the project. And now you're telling me that we don't need those fees. I don't think you're correct, but
So I'm not sure when John Hankin, when he signed this document, where all those figures came from. We could not find any documents that arrived at what this came to.
What
We-
it says here is the balance after amendment is 785.
what I'm saying is, we've already committed 790,000 to this project, and you're telling me that we haven't actually spent that money. So go ahead and use the money we already committed without doing the budget amendment, because you didn't do a budget amendment in the years that we committed the funds, and it's just sitting there.
But to follow I can't. It has to be in the budget in order for us to spend it. I have to have a budget amendment to spend these funds to finish this part, is why we're asking for it. Yeah, ideally it would have been done years ago. We don't like being the messenger of bad news. But in order to get it, worked on and finished, we'll need a budget amendment.
Okay.
Thank you
Councilman,
very much. Thanks for
Councilman
answering
Mitchell?
my questions. Appreciate it.
Is there any way you can work a grant for me to get lunch? Because it seems like you're pretty good at this.
Fiscal.
Yeah, there's a lot of sand that needs to be shoveled, so if you just show up, I'll get you lunch.
Oh, I shovel a lot. I appreciate your work on this, the budget amendment to get this done, and all the detail and the problems you've had to overcome to get to this point. It's pretty amazing. Thanks for digging through and figuring it out.
And then this price, we're still unclear as if this included the railroad also, so.
I understand that, but digging
Yeah.
through and getting where you're at is
Yeah.
amazing.
And when you say park, it's hard, it's like Depot Park or the railroad. So we really have to make sure that when we're talking about one, we're not talking about both. So, because I believe that this may have been both good.
And we're still researching, so we're still digging, and we'll be
Understand.
coming back with, here's everything that we can find for the park, and here's everything we can find for the depot building. Because we've been working slowly, spreading them and getting them in the correct funds.
Much appreciated.
Echoing what Mr. Mitchell said is that Debbie Mackey and Andrea and the staff have been doing an extraordinary job in terms of trying to catch up all these things. These things happened many, many years ago. And so they've been trying to catch up and get it to bring to light all the different things that have happened. So again, with all the transitions that's happened, with all the turnover, they're still trying to catch up. So again, I completely give them so much credit because they have been working, late nights to try to get this done. So echoing your points, Mr. Mitchell, they've done an extraordinary job in terms of trying to catch up, get this project back on track, and hopefully the residents of Ione will have a nice park here very, very shortly. That's been the goal.
Vice Mayor Rhodes.
Yeah, I've been heavily involved in this, and the grant was written for volunteers and never had any labor at all. It was actually written for volunteers. The Red Barn gave around $35,000, I think it was, and it said right in their deal that a lot of that money was to pay for lunch for the labor that worked there. And it was also written in their deal when they gave the money that Jay Kerfel would be in charge of the funding of that money to the $35,000. Just so everyone knows, there's been over $500,000 in labor and equipment donated to that project. CDCR helped. There's a bunch of other volunteers. And a couple of years ago, when Rock got on there, he decided to turn the city in or have someone turn the city into the union for not using union workers. And that's what.
Just lost my vote. Yeah.
Okay.
You just lost my vote.
I was-
Oh, were you part of it, Dominic? Maybe that's why.
Point of order.
There you go.
Okay.
Garbage.
Mark Bentley.
Okay, I have a couple comments to make. This is near and dear to my heart, and I've been trying to stay as active as I can on this. I'm constantly apprised of the situation down there, and when asking questions, they're keeping me up to date on everything. Andrea and Debbie have been doing a fabulous job on this, getting us back on track. We can't change things that happened in the past, all we can do is start fresh, and that's what they're doing. This whole department is starting afresh. So we can't go back to what was. We have to stay on what's going to happen and be consistent and transparent. So thank you. Okay, public comment.
I'd just like to say, nobody said anything when there was $750,000 on Perry Earl Park. It was by permits. Nobody said anything about that. And that was done by a contractor, which has no buildings on it, has this grass, and we own the land. So I don't understand why some people bitching about the price of it when it was $45,000 donated by the casino to move the building to begin with. And I'd like to say the building, I talked to UP, the building should have been never moved. UP would have given us money to rebuild the place. I think they said you would have had to have 120 days. Kim Kerr did that, caused this whole mess. And there's a lot of work done out there. And if you went and paid a welder, you went and paid all the equipment was donated there, I bet you'd be looking at $300,000 easy. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rhodes. Okay, more public comment? Okay, we'll go ahead and close public comment.
I'll make a motion that we adopt resolution 2026-14, resolution of the city council authorize, oh, wait, I'm on the wrong thing. Do it, Jack.
I'd like to make a motion to receive and accept to adopt resolution number 2026-14, authorizing a budget amendment to the fiscal year 25-26 capital budget on the train depot grant report.
We have a second?
I'll second.
We have first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
No.
Okay, ayes have it. We're going to go to, thank you so much, Deb. Number 3, discussion approval of city's contribution for lights at field number 1 of the baseball fields. If approved, adopt resolution number 2026-12-2025-2026 budget amendment.
Mr. Mayor, Amador City Little League West desires to install lights at field number 1 of the baseball fields at Howard Park. Adding lights to the fields has been a topic for Little League for several years. At the regular scheduled meeting of the Ione Parks and Recreation Commission on April 28th, it was voted to recommend the approval of the city's participation in contributing to the installation of lights at field number 1 of the baseball fields. The Little League West recently held a fundraiser, and they are contributing $32,000 to the baseball light project. The total project costs are $44,994. Amador Little League West contributions would be $32,000. The City of Ione's contribution would be $12,994. The installation, the labor is going to be donated by B&H Electric. So my recommendation is to approve this.
Thank you, sir. Council comments. Councilmember LaFane.
Which one is field 1? Is it closest to the street or is it more towards the center of the?
It's more towards the center.
It's the one that's used the most, which doesn't give you an idea where it's at, but it is used the most.
Thank you. Thank you. That was my question.
That's the only comment. Councilman Atlan.
I would approve this in the next budget, but again, I'm against doing a budget amendment when we don't know where we're at with our current budget. But I do like the idea. I support doing it in the next budget.
Councilman Mitchell.
I appreciate this going through Parks and Rec. They were concerned about light pollution and that. Those answers were given by Little League West and the extensive research they had done. So I appreciate that. That's all I have.
Vice Mayor Rhodes.
This went through Parks and Rec and they're all good with it, right?
Yes.
So,
Okay. Public comment? Okay, we'll close public comment. So we can entertain a motion regarding this.
Make a motion to approve, adopt resolution number 2026-12, 2025-2026 budget amendment to contribute for the lights at field 1 of the baseball fields.
I'll second.
All right, we have a first and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
No, I would like to see it on 26-27 budget.
So oppose. Okay, so we ayes have it. So we'll move down to discussion approval number 4. Number 4 is discussion approval of city's contribution for purchase of top dresser for baseball and soccer fields and parks in Ione. If approved, adopt resolution number 2026-13, 2025-2026 budget amendment. Mr. Lee.
The City of Ione was recently able to utilize the use of a top dresser from John Deere for the baseball fields at Howard Park. The top dresser was used to spread 10 transfer loads, approximately 140 tons of sand donated by U.S. Mines. Public Works was able to address 2.5 fields with the provided sand. Amador Little League West and Motherlode Youth Soccer League determined it would be a great benefit to have a top dresser available to rehabilitate the fields at Howard Park. Both groups have committed to contribute to the purchase of a top dresser. The contribution breakdown is the baseball will be contributing $6,040. Mother Lode Youth Soccer would be donating $6,040. The city of Ione would be donating $6,040 for a total of $18,122.66. This again is another example of a collaboration between the city, baseball, and youth to make the fields better at soccer fields. I highly recommend that you approve.
Thank you, sir. Council comments, Councilmember LaFame.
No comments.
No comment. Councilman Atlan.
Same comments as last item. I think it's a good idea. I like it, would support it if it was in next year's budget.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Mitchell.
Appreciate Parks and Rec looking at this. I think the big piece to it that I was really proud of is they all have twisted their ankle at some point down on those fields. I know I have. This is safety. This is about your kids. This is about making fields better, perhaps the best they've ever been. That's all I have to say.
I'll piggyback on Jack. I think it's well worth the investment. It's a lot cheaper than lawsuits with broken ankles. And I did call Jeff at Thera Golf and asked his opinion on it too, just because he's an expert on it. And he said this is probably one of the best machines we can get. So I'm fully for it.
Andrea?
I just want to verify your resolution that you guys have for this one, for the 2026-13. I think there's some miswording in it regarding the amounts, because it's actually not the baseball lights, it's for the top dresser.
Correct.
Can you verify that that's correct?
On
in
the
your
top
pack?
dresser, we did the lights.
No, but can you look in your packet and
Oh,
read it to me to see if it's correct?
2026-13. For the budget.
Does the resolution says top dresser?
Baseball lights is 12.
This is 13. You're good.
You are correct, Andrea. It says it's an incorrectly worded resolution.
Yeah, so it would be changed.
So we should postpone this until the next fiscal year.
So the base, you would change the wording from baseball lights to top dresser, and the amount would be the 6,040.89.
No.
That's up to you
You can
guys.
adopt the resolution subject to those changes.
Okay,
Those would be your two changes.
we haven't voted on it yet, though.
Correct.
Right,
That-
I'm just
that-
telling you, if
that
we're
would be
going
the
to vote
motion.
on it, I would,
Do the
those are the
amendments.
changes you would make.
Okay,
Change out baseball lights and the amount for the 6,000.
Good catch.
okay, so we have a motion
We got
and,
a public comment.
oh yeah, we haven't had public comment yet. Yeah, Jess, we got one on. Please, you're available online.
Yes, is this something that is going to be used in the current season for both of these events, soccer and baseball?
It's been used already.
Yes.
So they don't need it again until next season?
That'll be something that we'll have to use.
But they don't need it until next season?
No, they do
No,
it now.
need it now.
Okay, you just said they already used it and the fields are being used and
They used it in two
They used-
fields.
This is public comment also, please.
Sorry.
well, the public comment is requesting the information on whether or not this is something that's going to be used now, or is it something that's needed on a seasonal basis?
You'll have to go to City Hall. This is public comment.
I agree with Dominic Atlan. If this is not something that's going to be utilized on the current season, doesn't seem to be a big rush to get this purchased until the next budget. You don't have any idea of where your budget currently sits, so why are you spending money a month before your budget ends? Most communities at this point in the budget season are looking to reduce spending, if not spending at all, until the end of the budget season. So, thank you.
Okay, any more public comment? No more, Jess? We're good? Okay, entertain a motion here.
Do we say it with the incorrect resolution and then we switch it?
A motion to adopt the resolution subject to the two substitutions that Ms. Bonham specified.
So I'd move to accept the resolution for the top dresser for baseball and soccer fields at Parks and Ione, adoption of resolution number 2026-13, 2025-2026 budget amendment with the amended changes that Andrea brought forward to correct the resolution.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a first and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose?
No.
No. I didn't mean to say no. I meant to say.
Now you said it, so it's.
Okay. Ayes have it. Okay. Let's move on, folks. The one we've all been waiting for. Number 6, discussion approval of proposed updates and revisions to the City Council Protocol Manual. If approved, adopt resolution number 2026-10.
It's number 5. It's 5.
5?
Which is fine by me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I apologize. Okay. Discussion approval of award of request for proposal for study research needed for Ione's sewer and tertiary plant.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, the city of Ione released a request for proposal to assist the city in Ione in developing a wastewater treatment facility master plan and provide a clear strategy for long-term compliance. The city received 2 proposals for the studies research needed to submit to the Regional Quality Water Board to amend our permit. Amending the permit would allow the city to utilize the interconnection pipe from the sewer plant to the tertiary plant, in addition to analyzing the expansion required to plan for future needs. The 2 RFPs are attached. One is for 247 by Community Engineering, and one is for 279 by West Yost. So the recommendation is at the pleasure of the council.
Thank you, sir.
Pick it like you.
Councilmember LaFane, would you like to have comments?
I would. This request came up, I want to say in February, somewhere around there. And it was identified verbally as, we need a new wastewater engineer. No verbal mention was said of a master plan to connect CDC water through that pipeline and support new development in the city of Ione, because that's what this will do. This is and it was interesting when this came up, when the 3 here said, we need a new wastewater engineer, I was confused. What's wrong with Catherine? Catherine is our current, or I think our current, I'm not sure, wastewater engineer that was hired to assist us only on getting our permits and our Title 22 report. However, earlier this year, she submitted almost an identical plan to the water board before it came to council. So this has been a plan in the works for quite some time. But what was confusing as when I see this come up, the proposal, first of all, who drafted the RFP?
The city did.
Well, who at the city drafted this RFP? Because it's very, very technical.
We took an old template. And
No, this is a custom RFP. This is a
Answer the question.
custom.
I answer the question and you can either accept it or not.
Probably worst part.
Again, this RFP, you guys, the city council approved this.
Well, we approved it, but it was at the very end of a very heavy agenda, and nobody said anything about a master plan. And that's what this is. It's a master plan. It's kind of the bow around everything that's been going on here. So if nobody wants to admit as to who drafted a very detailed RFP, I'm not quite sure why someone wouldn't take ownership of that. What's concerning is West Yost applied for it. Because the only way to get this master plan through, so Catherine couldn't do this work as our engineer. We had to get an RFP out and get this approved to council to move forward on expansion of homes in Ione, an expansion of the wastewater treatment plant to send water where we all know it's going to go.
This has nothing
Now,
to do with-
my concern is West Yost submitted a proposal for task orders that we've already paid her for.
That's not accurate.
It very much is accurate.
That's not accurate.
You weren't here during those years, Mr. Lee.
That's not accurate.
We're getting off topic. We're definitely getting off, we are definitely off topic.
I'm asking clarifying questions, which I'm entitled to do.
You're getting completely off topic.
No, I'm talking about this RFP.
Okay, talk about the RFP. Let's,
Okay, I'm talking about the RFP. The proposal submitted by West Yost includes task orders that we've paid for and work that we've signed off on. So that's concerning. What's also concerning is how much access did she have to this project?
you're getting completely off topic. I'm not allowing this because
You-
let me read to you number 5. I have
No,
your bike.
you do not.
Discussion approval of award. This is what we're discussing now, ma'am. Discussion approval of award of request for proposal
Thing that-
for study research needed of Ione's sewer and tertiary plant.
Just don't like.
What's concerning to me is your allegiance. You seem to show an allegiance to West Yost. That's what my concern is. Rather than getting this done.
No, that's quite the opposite. I'm not pleased that she submitted a proposal for tasks we've already paid for.
That is not what you stated. Please continue if you can stay on that line.
Okay, in West Yost's proposal, tasks, and I'm sure someone with more experience can weigh in on this, we've paid for. West Yost has had a contract, a master services contract with the city for now 5 years. We've approved multiple projects. I remember when I first came on council, we got another big master services plan and nobody could figure out what was done and what was paid for. And so here we are again.
We are off topic. We are totally off topic. You're going on making a statement. So either discuss what we're going to do with regard to this RFP.
Back to you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you so much. Councilman Atlan.
You don't have to yell in the microphone.
Yeah, wow. Thought we were gonna get a reasonable meeting, but I guess not. So
Not when they do this.
the RFP, which now we've now realized was done by the city, which I pulled off the website. The RFP isn't even right. So what they even bid on in the first place is incorrect. Let me, I'm reading a couple of things I highlighted, but there's a whole bunch of it. The contract with the prison allows the city to accept up to 50 acre feet. And the contract from ARSA allows for the city to accept up to 650 acre feet. That's incorrect. It's 350 and 300. So the amounts are completely wrong. It also says that they're looking for joint water balance to demonstrate the disposal capacities that the golf course can't get rid of. And we already know that's what the town field is for. That's what the Green Rock Ranch deal was about. That's what now the Jackson Rancheria has. So there was 650 acre feet. The golf course only took about 550. We had to get rid of 100. So somebody made the deal with Green Rock to take the extra 100. That's the extra capacity the golf course doesn't take.
No, that's incorrect because we have potential future development coming along.
I don't care about future development,
Okay.
so, but that's fine.
Okay.
So those are incorrect. It says here that there's going to be 2 pending developments, which will significantly increase wastewater flows to the wastewater treatment plant over the next 5 to 10 years. And so I agree with George. That's not a cost that the taxpayer should be paying. That's the cost that the potential developer should be paying.
You're right, but that's why this is
Thank
a
you.
study.
Now, just stop it. You're right.
That's why this is
I
a
like that.
study.
You stop interrupting. This is council
You-
comments.
The city must transition away from pond 6 and 7 for disposal. We already have done that. Pond 6 and 7 was built to meet that 100 acre foot excess capacity, which now goes to the rancheria. It says we need to know what the long-term plans of ARTS are. We already know that. They're out. We need to know a master plan for a CIP, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, excuse me, I took a cough drop. So then you get to the scope of services. It says, describe the existing wastewater treatment plant and Castle Oaks water reclamation facilities and evaluate the performance data. That's been done over and over and over. And task 4, develop wastewater flow and load projections. That's been done over and over. I think West Joseph's been in since 2015, not 2020, but I think Ed Patterson. Evaluate existing facility conditions. That was just done last year. Identify and evaluate alternatives. That's been done multiple times that the council can't ever agree on what direction to go in. Develop a capital improvement program and what triggers payments and development. Sure. But so it looks like there is a bunch of stuff that is duplicate, that's already been done. Instead of arguing with people about what's done and what hasn't been done, why don't we just get a list of what's been done and what's outstanding? We've got all these other task orders. Let's just go through the list, see what's been done. The interconnection project was funded in that was part of an audit, showed up. There was 130,000 for the engineer on that. That was done years and years ago. So this is something that needed way more discussion than what we have time tonight, way more questions, and that's why I wanted it pulled, but I got outvoted. So as it stands, I don't want to spend another 250 or another 279. We spent, I don't know how much we spent in the last 3 years. Unfortunately, we got to wait 3 years for that audit to come out, but we have spent tons and tons and tons of money on wastewater.
You spent 729,000 in consulting fees during your tenure.
Yeah, we spent a lot during my tenure. Yeah, and I don't want to spend any more because we have spent a lot. We spent a lot of money on pumps, filters, SCADA equipment, blah, blah, blah. I just like a list of what we spent and what we need to continue to spend. And a lot of those things that we spent money on were task orders that we've already done. So I'd like this to be tabled, brought back more information. Thank you.
Councilman Mitchell.
I agree that we've spent massive amounts of money. We have failed to do anything with the ion sewer and tertiary treatment plant. And we need to get moving forward. That's all I'm going to say.
Vice Mayor Rhodes.
If a lot of this has been done, I guess their vote will drop dramatically. Anyhow, drastically. West Jost was working years on trying to figure out how to physically connect the two plants together with an interconnect, and it was connected years ago. So we probably wasted $500,000 on studies on something that was
690,000.
Yeah, so that's
the number.
My only comment is that we've seen, my goal is that we spend money on tangible things and improvements rather than consultants. That's my thing. So any way we can improve ourselves and get that route, I'm all for. Public comment?
All I know is you guys have spent a lot of money. Yes, West Jost didn't complete what they were supposed to do, the interconnection, $750,000. And it took Justin to hook it up. I mean, this is ridiculous. You don't need an engineer for everything. That's ridiculous. That's just somebody saying it. You don't need an engineer. All you need somebody to prove it. And that's crazy. And as far as all the filters and all that, that was caused by PERC. They're the ones that destroyed that place. That little box my son put up there, that was actually fact. Even some people don't care for it. But they've been wasting money on this ever since. And nobody brings up, where's the $16 million hold'em pond money going to come from? That's in cease and desist order. Nobody brings it up. I don't care for West Jost. I would imagine they're the only ones that bid on it, even if you put an RFP out. Nobody wants to work for this city, and that's a fact. Thank you.
For the record, we have 2 bids. We have attachments here from Community Engineering Incorporated and West Jost. So we do have 2 RFPs. We received 2 bids. Okay, Jess, please. You're on Zoom. We're ready for you.
It's, from what I'm hearing, the proposal that went out is including items that West Yost has already completed as part of the $690,000 worth of consultant fees you've already paid. As part of the capacity report that we had to send to the water board as part of the order that MRSA, CDCR, and Ione received, a lot of these items were included in that. So it doesn't, so what these proposals are giving you aren't accurate. Were the proposers provided with the documentation of everything that has already been done prior to submission of their proposals? If not, that might be something that should be done so that they can give you an accurate proposal. I mean, it's 247 and 249 or whatever they are. I couldn't read the other one. The print was completely messed up on the agenda. That amount may reduce drastically. So if you're going to award a contract for something, they should be really awarding the contract based on the work that actually needs to be done. Was there an amount listed for getting our permits upgraded so that we can actually utilize the interconnect project water? That is like number one on the list, should be anyway, so that we can actually use that water. Right now we can't. So I would say that you probably need to pull this RFP and these proposals and resubmit with accurate data provided to the proposers of the work that's actually been done. Thank you.
Okay, Jesse, anybody else on Zoom? Any more public comment?
George's memo to you on February 25th of 2026, it does talk about the recommended actions, about the RFP and all that you guys discussed at that meeting. And I remember when she came in, she had like, I believe it was like a $200,000 thing that she threw out there. And then there was a 300,000 and then there was another 500,000 or something like that. And that's when George went in and said, okay, we're going to pull an RFP. I don't see a problem with it. So I think you need to go back and review this.
Listen to the video.
It's right.
We're not arguing. No, can you please have respect for the speaker? Please have respect for the speaker.
Councilmember,
Thank you,
been
Stacy.
by the chair multiple times.
She doesn't like to listen to me. Any more public comment? Okay, we'll close public comment. I go ahead, Mr. Lee.
One thing that I will comment is that all of the reports were done in 2013. That's one of the reasons why all this have to be updated. So again, that's what this encompasses, we are going for a permit for the interconnection pipe. But with that, you have to update all these other reports that are now outdated.
I'd like to make a comment also. When we had Catherine on Zoom here that night, Councilmember LaFane, she didn't want an RFP. The one who always preaches RFP, RFP, RFP.
Order.
No point of order. I deny. No,
Baranski.
It was denied.
I'm denying it.
It wasn't recognized by the chair.
I'm
You need a
speaking the
second.
truth. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm going to say it. I'm not. You can sit there. I'll sit there for 10 minutes if you want.
Go right ahead.
Okay, then I'll start. She didn't want an RFP, and Catherine Jeeves was not quoting, but she was throwing numbers as high as $500,000 out there. Now, if we would have went with no RFP, my guess is we would have got a proposal for about that much money. I insisted that we have an RFP. My colleagues on my left voted with me to have an RFP. I believe Mr. Atlin also voted to have an RFP. And that's the reason we have the bids as low as we do. So let's keep this in order in mind for many reasons, particularly one, when someone always calls for RFP and then we do it, and then she doesn't understand why, and then all she talks is all these grand things about West Joe's. Doesn't match. Councilman, I guess we're public comments closed. So anybody want to respond? You want to respond to what I said? Go for it.
So comments, I'm not in favor of West Yost. at all. I don't like her proposal. I don't like this RFP. I feel like it's a straw RFP just to get a master plan going. And that's it. Because this almost identical plan was submitted to the Regional Water Board in a meeting with other entities by West Yost and other members for another project. So I'm not in favor of this RFP, and I'm not in favor of West Yost.
Okay. Councilman Atlan.
No, why don't you three go ahead and vote it in?
Exactly.
Okay.
What's going to happen?
Save us some time.
Mr. Mitchell.
I have no comment.
I'll make a motion that we accept the proposal from Community Engineering Incorporated.
Second.
If your motion,
Can't even see the
Sure.
numbers on.
First and second.
uh,
Go ahead, sir.
your motion can include authorization to execute a contract as well, other than just the award, or if you want us to bring the contract back.
This is their sheet that they gave us.
You need to, it's your motion.
I wish there was a way I could have you removed.
Yeah, amend your.
Well,
You know, because you just disrupt every meeting. It's just.
A motion to execute
Award
Award a
the
contract.
RFP to the selected
the selected community engineering
and authorization to execute a contract.
and authorization to execute a contract.
Second.
First and second, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No, but who did you authorize to execute the contract with?
The engineering.
Not West Yost.
Okay.
Community engineering.
just to make it clear,
Thank you.
we're accepting a contract.
Okay, vote is over. It's done.
Contract
Mr. Vrinsky?
even.
The council member saying you're out of order, the item's over, you haven't been recognized. I could go down the list. It's over.
Go ahead.
Quiet. Move on, Mr.
Watch
Mayor.
what happens, people.
Change order after change order coming our way.
Okay, I want to make sure I'm in the right spot here. Discussion approval of proposed updates and revisions to the city council protocol manual. If approved, adopt resolution number 2026-10 approving revisions and updates to the protocol manual. Mr. Verinsky.
Thank you, Mayor. This is my item. This is the third time that this has come before the council. This has been put together based on staff recommendations, feedback from the prior year, and the two meetings that we held previously. I don't believe I need to go through each and every revision, but the manual was very old. It was quite an unwieldy document. So what I do like is that when adopted, the city will have a protocol manual that's workable and that will be easy to revisit and amend and update. It was quite haphazard the way it was before, so it's in a much better structure and format now. For the substantive changes, I'd like to go through some, which of course, council member feedback is welcome. One of the items was the previous manual I would say gave more authority to the mayor over agenda setting and designing the agenda. That has been changed to where it's in the hands of the city manager in consultation with the mayor. We've added some sections on what the role of planning commission is and how those meetings are prepared and how the city planner is the one who sets the agenda for planning commission meetings. We've updated conflict of interest provisions to be consistent with current law. One of the main changes that, of course, I would like to hear from council is the council member agenda policy for how those items get placed on an agenda. The current policy is that if we get a request from two council members, it should be prioritized as soon as possible at the next council meeting. The proposed change is that the agenda authority request can be made at any time, of course, but the city manager with the mayor are the ones who set the agenda. And then if they do not prefer to bring that item requested by a council member by themselves, they would bring it to the council for further direction. So the old policy would be replaced for if the city manager doesn't want to put it on the agenda, they'd bring it to the whole council for further direction on the council member request. The city attorney will be in charge of authorizing closed session items. in your agenda template, we would add an item in the beginning of declaration of conflicts of interest. So that would just be go toward the beginning of the agenda as council members review their agenda packet, be mindful of potential conflicts that you might need to declare for the meeting. We've added some more information on what constitutes confidential information of the city for council members and city staff to be aware of. We've added a new chapter at the end on civility and decorum. That also includes a social media policy to be careful about blocking commenters, muting, communicating amongst each other on social media for potential Brown Act violations, specifying what's not protected speech under the First Amendment, putting a disclaimer on your social media posts that they're your own personal views and not the views of the city. And then we've included and updated all the appendices for the prior policies adopted this past year and that weren't originally included. What I would just like to emphasize again is this, it's a living document. These sections and policies can always be revisited, but we look to it, council members look to it. I know the commissions and committees look to it. So I think it's been overdue to get this document into shape, make some substantive changes that reflect just the will of the council. So we can make some amendments, or you can consider adoption as is. I didn't receive very many comments from council members of further changes to include. Some of them were more related to civility and decorum and how we enforce the rules. I think that's spoken for in the handbook already and the censure policy that was adopted. So that's about where this manual stands, and we can consider further changes or adopt it, and you can always come back to it.
Thank you, Mr. Verinsky. I've read it several times, both the lined one out and also the new one, the proposed one. Councilmember LaFane, would you like some comments, please?
Yes, I would. We already know that some of those policies that you implemented don't apply to everyone, and this council only recognizes those policies when it suits them. We have a council that doesn't follow policy. So now we have new rules. For what purpose? When we have a pattern of only applying policy when it fits. So I guess we'll see how we go moving forward. Your censure policy was not applied to anyone else but me. It was shot down by 1, 2, and 3 over there. Not even considered, not
Are your comments
investigated.
about the manual or the censure?
I'm commenting, I'll be done here so you don't have to waste more of your screaming through the microphone.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
I don't agree with the fact that you say it was old, because it had been revised many, many times. But I will stop my comments because, the majority will vote it in. And let me say one more thing. The policy on getting items on the agenda does not apply to me or Mr. Atlan. We've requested multiple times, 2 council members, then we're told to put it in writing. We put it in writing. Those items never appear, ever. I'm done speaking now, just making a point.
Okay, Councilman Atlan?
Yes, this was unnecessary. It gets revised every 2 years per the code. This was started without council following policy. I mean, one person decided to put on the agenda and spend the money and have the attorney do it and so on and so forth. So I've complained enough about it. I'll be very brief. I don't think putting the agendas solely in the city manager's hands is a good idea. That was the whole point of running for council, right? If you've got some things that you want to, your passion, that you could move that forward. But you always worked with the city manager. That was never, because you have to work with the city manager and the city staff, because you can't come down here and use all the machines. So that was something that was already done. But it has been lately very hard to get anything on the agenda. But there's, like tonight, how many things on here got the second in writing support? I mean, they just all show up, but you can't get a simple thing on there if you're not one of the chosen three. So, again, just waste of time, waste of money. We're not going to follow, I mean, some of us aren't going to follow the rules anyway, so what's the point?
Councilman Mitchell.
The living, breathing document that can change. I'm glad it's updated. It did start out weird because I don't know who put it on or how it started, but if we've spent the money, let's update. And I agree. I don't know that all of the protocols will be followed by some of the folks on this council.
Vice Mayor Rhodes.
No, it's a living, breathing document, like I said, and we're just updating it. The only thing that I would like to change in is section 2.02, but that's on the next section item on 7.
My comments is I'm the one who requested this. I proudly will state that. It was way overdue. A few revisions or changes may have been made, but has the protocol manual actually gone completely over? No, not since 2008, and that's a fact. So I proudly requested this, and I think it's a good document. Thank you. We have public comment? Oh, we have one on, let me get this real quick on Zoom, please. You're on Zoom?
This is a meeting of the city council, so it would be the city council's agenda. If it's the city manager meeting, then the meeting needs to be renamed to the city manager meeting. If you have, and this has nothing to do with George Lee, this has to do with who's sitting in the chair. If Kim Kerr had the complete control over the agenda that this protocol is allowing, the other council would never have had any items put on there that they wanted. Because she would have had complete control over what the council was seeing, what the council was voting on, and all of those items. Because this is a meeting of the city council, it should be reflected that the mayor represents the city council at the agenda meetings. The city attorney represents the legal portion of it, and the city manager represents the items that are pertinent to the city administration. And if those items are important, they should make the agenda, but the council should be the guiding force on what is on their agenda, not the city manager alone. The sole authority given to a city manager allows complete control over what this council will and won't see. And when George Lee isn't there anymore, and you have some other city manager in there who has other plans for the city, this council won't be able to be effective in understanding what those situations are. Thank you.
Okay, I think you're being appreciated as being effective there, George. Okay, anywhere else on Zoom? Okay, please, public comment.
2 quick comments. One, Mr. Mitchell, you couldn't remember how it got on the agenda. I do recall, yes, Mr. Mayor. It was suggested by you. It was put on the mayor, in fact, in your very first meeting. But what's more disturbing about that, not the fact that it was put on the agenda, but that the work had already been done by the city attorney and a draft had already been presented to council at that meeting. So money had been spent, which should not have been spent. Putting it on the agenda is one thing, but having done the work before it was even presented to council for discussion is wrong. Secondarily, and I just forgot my train of thought. That was the first one. Protocol manual, yes. So I agree that there are some issues because I have come to the meetings religiously and I have heard 2 city council members repeatedly ask about putting something on the agenda. And I've heard the response that, okay, you need to send an email. And then there was a comment from the city manager back, no, one email wasn't enough with both people on it. Each person needed to send an email, which apparently was news to everybody. And still, the criticism is there are two city council members who are sitting up there who can't seem to get anything on the agenda. And that is a problem because all five of you, as I've said, every time are equal. And as far as voting on this, you know what? We should probably just vote at the very beginning. Let's just adopt everything 3-2, be done with it. Meeting can be over in 5 minutes.
Okay, any more public comment? Amanda.
Amanda, hi. I am vice chair of Park and Recs, and I come to a lot of the city council meetings. And I want to say that Park and Recs is run very respectfully. And coming here and seeing the disrespect toward each other is very disheartening. You guys are leaders of this community, and it is very, very hard to sit here and watch you guys speak to each other the way you do. And I have to agree that putting the agenda all in the city manager, and I don't say George Lee, I say the city manager position, you are taking away things from the council members that the community votes in. You guys are voted in by the community. And now we're only going to listen to one person putting the agenda together when there's 5 seats up there that your community members voted in. Okay?
Would you
I'll just clarify that.
clarify that, please? How this is going to be done again, please?
It's really not a substantial change from what happens currently.
Please clarify it.
I can hold off until.
Patricia, would you like to speak, please?
I want to thank Amanda for what she said. I completely wholeheartedly agree. Every single one of you at one point in time has violated this protocol manual and has acted in a decorumless manner. And I have been guilty of that in other meetings as well. So we're all human. But I think we need to go into these meetings with the intention of being respectful and not going in with sort of a negative attitude of, oh, they're all plotting against me on either side, the 3 or the 2. You're all elected. And I am looking toward not electing any of you ever again. It's ridiculous. You too, and you too, and you too, and you too, and you too. Get it together. If you don't trust the city manager, George Lee, or any city manager, you're his supervisor. That's the pipeline, right? Then get rid of him. If we don't like you guys, maybe we should have a recall election. Who knows? But we're really close to election, so we'll see. We have so many important matters in this city that need to be taken care of and need to be done in an accurate manner. And the fighting and the coming into it with suspicions and stuff, it doesn't help things. It doesn't help at all. The snide little comments on the side and oh, and I don't get to talk about that ever on the side of the microphone where I think they can't hear me, but we can hear you. Just if anyone watches Ted Lasso, I feel like I'm Rebecca Welton going, stop it. Stop it, all of you. Your children. Stop. I have 2 children, and sometimes they act better than you guys. So they're 9 and 6. So yeah.
Or public comment, Ms. Rhodes?
I'd like to say I've been to a few meetings and I can remember when I was what's called part of the peanut gallery, and back when been a peanut gallery, there was 2 to 3 vote, and somebody would always say, they would say up there, you know how it's going to turn out. They used to say that. 2 to 3 vote. It's the way it was for years. Thank you.
Okay, any more public comment? Jess? Josh, would you like to clarify?
Yes. Just that this is not a substantial change from how the city currently operates. Of the city manager is your CEO of the city, and this council sits at the very top for policy level decisions. What they haven't delegated to the city manager, and the city manager implements the priorities, policies, programs set by the city council. So that he is your administrative day-to-day head, and the agenda setting very much it is customary for that to be with the city manager. Of course, it's going to be done in consultation with the mayor, and the city manager is accountable to the council because they are his boss. But this is very customary for how local agencies is run, where your executive officer or city manager mostly sets the agenda and sees to the preparation of agenda items. And if the council does not like the way the city manager is doing that, they have tools to hold him accountable. So if it's a 3-2 split, the will of the council will ultimately govern, but it is the city manager's job to implement the priorities that the council sets. So this is also a part-time job for them. So they simply day-to-day agenda preparation is just simply not within their scope. So of course they should be involved and they can make requests, but we do need a clear policy of how this agenda is set. And in all local agencies, that ultimate responsibility will fall on the city manager, and it's how it's implemented currently in consultation with the mayor. And anytime council members can make a request anytime. And if staff feels like that's not the proper item to prepare, it'll be brought to the whole council for direction.
Thank you, sir. Okay,
I'll make a motion, we approve and adopt the revisions and updates to the city council protocol manual.
Second.
we have a first and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
So moved.
No.
Okay, last but not least. 7, discussion direction to city staff regarding ordinance to increase city manager's purchasing authority. Oral discussion and Mr. Vrinsky.
I can introduce it.
Yeah.
This has come up at prior meetings. This is in your code and the city manager's authority of how much he's allowed to spend with what council has budgeted. The current limit is 15,000. This is up for the council's discretion if they'd like to increase that limit, but it just has to be done by ordinance and by the proper process. So this item is for direction from the council to direct legal to prepare an ordinance for the council's consideration. And the main piece of information I would need is how high you would like to set that limit. Just in a quick review of Jackson and Plymouth, their limit is 20,000. So that's just a reference for you. And this is for the council's discretion. We can make a code amendment. It'll take, to get all the documents together, staff report, resolution, ordinance, 2 readings, 3 to 5 hours.
Will you explain also the process? Let's say we were talking earlier about if the city manager was to leave or resign and we are comfortable, I'm comfortable with this, with our current city manager on this aspect of it. Doesn't mean I would be with the new one. So as far as what's the process to reduce it?
Would be the same.
It's same thing. If this is in our code, future changes all.
So the council can do it at any time. We could do it. Any council can do it at any time, correct? Just change the
Yes.
The code.
Correct. Through an ordinance.
All right.
Yeah.
I thought so, but I want to clarify. Okay, Councilmember LaFane. Any comments?
Thank you. Normally, the city attorney brings the ordinance to us for us to review, and we have a written staff report that provides the fiscal impact, the justification, and everything we need to make that decision. Why it's being brought, why it's needed now.
You would have those documents.
This is for
discussion
only.
I am asking clarifying questions. Please stop interrupting me. That's the normal procedures that we get all the information before us. This is no staff report. We're discussing it, and I want to make sure it doesn't slide in under a consent calendar.
Or ordinance would be a public hearing.
Exactly. So a public hearing as well. So what do you anticipate this would cost you? Since we don't have a staff report that gives us that information?
3 to 5 hours, $250 an hour. I would say probably by the end of it, over 1,000.
And then the cost of a public hearing,
Public hearing notices, how much?
notices, staff report,
That's my total estimate.
no, I mean, for,
I would say 1,500 would be conservative.
okay. And so that's going to be on the staff report? The physical
Sure.
impact when you bring it back?
Sure.
Well, it's in the new protocol that just got passed, right? The agenda template, so.
I would say previously we've put in time and brought things to the council, and the council hasn't been too happy about that. So I thought this was a good way to bring it first to the council for direction before we spent the time on the item. So that's one reason why it's agendized this way.
I mean, we're really used to having staff reports to give us as much information as we can. So before,
This is a very initial step.
go ahead.
Okay, Councilman Atlan.
Yes, first of all, I appreciate all the comments that was made earlier, and I'm guilty of being snarky from time to time, and I'll work on that. However, in this case, this would have been a great opportunity. I'm not against having our city manager have the same purchasing authority as Sutter Creek and Jackson. And I've said that over and over with regards to pay scales and everything else. But it's always when it suits the administration to do one thing a certain way, they do it. And when it doesn't, they don't. What should have happened with this is this would have been a great opportunity for the city manager and the city attorney to put out a staff report and say, look, $15,000 doesn't buy you anything anymore. Okay, it's got to be 20 or 25 or whatever the number is going to be. These are the amount of times that we've had to call a special meeting to get permission from you to spend over the 15,000, and that costs money, costs time. You don't want to come here for a special meeting, so we think that we should up it to whatever the number is, right? But we got none of that. Absolutely none of that at all. Okay, this is an ordinance, so we're going to have a public hearing, a notice in the paper or social media or whatever, public hearing, first reading, second reading, then it comes into effect 45 days after we voted in. 30, excuse me. So that's how it works. And then if you don't like the new guy, right, then you got to do all that again to bring it back down. And what are we talking about? $5,000? I mean, it seems like a complete waste of time. The other thing is, have we followed our policy that we have right now? Hell no, we have not followed, excuse me. No, we haven't followed our policy right now. Okay, so what's the point in doing all this stuff if you can just go ahead and come back 6 months time from now and say, I'll do a budget amendment, and it all gets voted in anyway. So it's just a waste of time, a waste of money. If there are some other ordinances going on and they want to look at the whole thing for bidding, that could be done. Like I said, is 15 grand a good number in 2026? I don't know, but I've got no information to compel me to send Mr. Vrinsky out there and start doing all this work that may or may not get followed in the first place. So this is a waste of time. I wanted to pull this for that staff report, and I was outvoted. So I wasn't given the courtesy of, having my questions answered in a report, so I could say, yeah, you know what, 15 grand doesn't buy anything anymore. Let's do 25. But try to pull it, and you saw what happened.
Councilman Mitchell.
Yeah, I think the 15,000 is an old number. I don't think it does buy much in 2026, and we'll buy less tomorrow. Staff report would be nice. I understand what Josh has said, that we'll get that as we're moving forward, looking at the ordinance, that if we push it forward, you'll have those pieces. But that's all I got.
Vice Mayor Rose?
I think we just move on to your next thing, come up for staff report next meeting and move forward. Some options on prices, I guess.
Okay, this is discussion.
Yes, I would need, if I would need direct, you could table it, or you could give me direction to move forward and I would start preparing an ordinance. Or you could table it and come back with more information.
Well, I came here prepared to approve it.
Do we need to open up public comment first?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
Before we
yeah,
do
yeah,
anything?
I can't be swayed.
I'd like to know who we can give credit to for the audacity for putting this on the agenda. With a city manager who has blatantly ignored his purchasing authority on 3 occasions in the last year, and 2 of them were at the last meeting. Those are the ones that we know of anyway. What a slap in the face this is to all us tax-paying citizens. We know $15,000 doesn't go very far, but if somebody has $15,000 authority and they don't stick with it, and they routinely make decisions, sign contracts, and by their own admission, don't provide any updates or staff reports to city council, and then you find out, oh, it's already been signed. Oh, the work's already been done. Who rewards somebody for that kind of behavior? Okay, I'll tell you what, if I worked for a company and I was told I could spend $1,000 and I spent 15, I'd probably end up fired or at a minimum disciplined. Our city manager wasn't disciplined. In fact, he got a free pass, and that's why we know he'll do it again. So why don't you go ahead and, don't just bother with 25, let's make it 50. And then you'll come to find out that we've got a $100,000 contract that he signed. How can you provide government oversight, council members, when the power is being taken from your hands? It's been taken from your hands, and it's going to continue being taken from your hands because you have no input. You don't have to approve anything. And again, our city manager has admitted that he doesn't provide anyone any updates. So not only will you be kept in the dark as to what contracts have been signed, what work has already been done, how much it was, you're not going to get an update either. This is a farce.
Okay, any more public comment?
I agree with Marcia that it's hard because you want to separate the person, George, from the position city manager, because I was in a fiscal position where I was completely unqualified for. And if in that position I stepped over my limit, it was more than likely a mistake, not, meant to and a nefarious thing. But if it were to happen, you can sure bet I would be disciplined and possibly removed from my position. And I guess we'll have to play to the 3 versus 2 thing. For the 3 that have kind of said they're going to vote yes, I really want you to think about it. If it were anyone in that position, if it were Miss LaFane in this position and she overspent, because we know feelings, we can't deny them about, certain members of the council, would you be okay with that? Who's in that chair? It's objective. It was X amount of dollars. They spent Y and the work was already done. And then it got brought to you last meeting for approval after the work was done. It was spent. Blatant, out of protocol, out of purchasing authority. That was very clear cut. So I think kind of like, other things where you kind of need to prove. I was on I guess a temporary, signing limit, and it would get increased every incremental where not, you can prove yourself that you can be responsible for a certain spending limit. Maybe that's what needs to be implemented. And I don't understand, I heard that it needs to go through, the staff report and then first reading, second reading, but then I heard someone say that we're just going to approve him to write up the ordinance right now. But didn't we just say it has to go through first reading, second reading? How can we authorize the writing up of the ordinance? That's going to cost money. But I thought we were doing all these steps before then. So I just want you to vote individually, and think if this was anyone, would you be okay with them spending over their limit to then give them more? Or maybe, I don't know, a little bit of a timeout, let's reassess, make sure you can do it responsibly, kind of like a teenager with their license. You hit the mailbox, 3 months off for you. You hit the old lady, a little bit more of a punishment. Oh, you did really good there and you weren't speeding and you haven't gotten a ticket. Yeah, here you go. Here, you could stay up till 11 instead of 10. Common sense.
Okay, we have someone on Zoom. Zoom, go ahead, please.
The city council, the point of this is so that the city council has a clear understanding of what money is being spent. The only power the council really has is the power of the purse. And I'm not opposed to increasing the 15 to a more reasonable 25 or 30. But this discussion item had a amount of 50,000, which is a significant amount, given what our budget, well, right now we don't know what our budget is, but we have a limited budget, and spending $50,000 without council approval, without having a clear understanding of what the effect of that is on the budget for the council, just seems to me to be excessive. You five are the keepers of the finances as far as how and where and when the money is spent. And by allowing a $50,000 authority level, that seems excessive. In my job, my entire office has to take any settlement authority over 50,000 to the Board of Supervisors of the County of Sacramento. So this 50,000 for the city manager and a budget of our size seems to be very excessive. And to the point that the mayor made, that we can just change this when somebody else comes into the chair. Ordinances are made to be long-standing. They aren't just, oh, well, we like this guy, we can go ahead and, change the ordinance. But ordinances are ordinances. They can't be changed based on personality and shouldn't be changed on personality or who's sitting in what chair. If that's the case, you're going to spend a whole lot of time changing ordinances based on who you have hired in what positions. They should be long-standing, and yes, they should be reviewed periodically. Every 5 years, this should be reviewed for inflation, whatever the costs are, have increased or decreased. We know that's never going to happen, but they should be reviewed, every 2 to 5 years. But to simply say, oh, well, we can change it whenever, that isn't really the nature of what an ordinance is. Thank you.
Mr. Rhodes.
Yes, I'd like to comment on about spending money. I remember something about the tertiary, not the aerators at the sewer plant. They give an okay, so the previous people that ran it could spend $50,000 because the aerators broke down and they'd have to go through council to okay it, and they needed it quick. So they passed the deal where they could spend $50,000 on these because they wouldn't fix them. And Mr. Lee has done a good job. I think he's very honest. I think he's for the city. These guys, I admit, he's probably made some mistakes. And by God, we've all made mistakes. I don't give a crap who you are. And I think he's learned a lot. And I think he will do better in the future. And I just picking on everybody is a bunch of crud. I've never seen it so bad. I've seen it bad before, but nothing like it is now. And it goes on and on and on. And I think you got to increase it. I mean, $15,000. Well, if the fire truck loses an engine, that's probably $25,000 right there. People don't think that. You fill every truck we got in the fire department, I bet you it's close to $15,000. Gas, diesel, $6 a gallon. I just spent about $120 on 15 gallons of my truck. So you take one that takes 200 to 300 gallons, you're gonna have to pretty soon get a Yucca Council's permit to fill up a truck. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more public comment? We'll close you have something? Mhm.
Julie Traxler, 827 Quail Court, Ione. I'm kind of new to this, and I know you people, you five, are really intelligent people. And I'm a former financial advisor, Series 7, and I know in my home, I do the basics first. So my thing is get your budget done. Just get her done. Table everything else. Everybody's going to be mad at you. It doesn't matter. Just get your budget done. And send out a notice of some sort. Don't spend any money. Just do that first.
Thank you for your comments.
Nice, wise woman.
Okay, we'll go ahead and close public comment. I haven't given much of my, do you have something we need to read first?
I have a few remarks, but
No,
I can.
no, I just, we have a lot of things going on. There's got a lot of things in the future that are going to be coming up soon. I mean, within like the next year or two. And I think this is a reasonable request, and I'm for it. I think it'll streamline the services we need, and will save time. And I'll make sure that we'll keep an eye on all these things. So that's just my opinion. So anybody do you want to read something before you entertain a motion?
It's
No,
come
just-
back after council comments or public comments to council.
Yeah, we can, but that's
Just some other comments for the council to consider.
yeah.
I don't, on the 50,000, I don't, in response to Ms. Ratton, I don't know if that was proposed. The agenda item doesn't say anything about 50,000. It's just if it's direction to increase the purchasing authority beyond 15. To specify this isn't my item. I don't have a particular recommendation. It's really for the council to consider if they want this change. Certainly that this part of the ordinance is in our purchasing and bidding policy. There's many other parts of that ordinance that could probably use some cleanup to the future. This proposal is a very more simple, short code amendment. I wouldn't go into the other sections. If that's something the council wants to consider, that's another option, or at a later date. On the agenda item preparation, I would like to do what the council wants. If the council wants a staff report for these types of items, I will do a staff report. But I don't want to be in a no-win situation where I get heat for the bills. Council doesn't like when I draft staff reports. So I do want to find an outcome where I'm doing what the council wants.
We will give you definite direction.
So it's only a direction item before I've incurred time on it. And yeah, I don't want to be in a no-win situation with the council where we don't have a staff report, but I'm also not spending time on something before I've gotten council direction. So if the council could consider that, I would appreciate it.
Okay, let's see if we can entertain a motion here.
After public comment, we come back for discussion. That's the Sverinsky. Is that Robert's rules?
We have not done that.
It's always a matter of the agenda.
After public comment, some deliberation before a motion.
Okay.
Because this has come up in the past, first of all, we always have the city attorney draft the staff report for an ordinance. We never have staff do it, but I don't need a comment. I'm just saying in the past, and you usually don't prepare staff reports. We have staff to do that. That's why it's called a staff report. But I would like clarification, if this does pass, that you clarify what the threshold includes. Because you and I disagree Contract's a contract. A contract obligates the city to perform. A procurement service does not. And Mr. Verinsky and I have gone back and forth on the municipal code that he wants to amend.
I have no recommendation.
I'm not, I didn't say you did. I'm saying you and I have gone back and forth on the meaning of that code. So I would request that if this does come back to you, you clarify, is the threshold for a living and breathing contract where you are obligating the city to perform? Or is it for procurement services? You're going to go out and buy a water pump. There's a difference. So I would like clarification on that. Right. To be able to obligate the city under a contract should fall to city council.
Councilman Atlan,
Nothing further.
Councilman Mitchell,
Think further.
Vice Mayor Rhodes. I have nothing either. Do we have a motion?
I need direction to, no, it's
Just add
direct, it's
discussion.
direction. So
Direction, yeah, we have direction, that's right. Is it
if you'd like me
discussion?
to go ahead
Direction?
and prepare something
Council?
or table it.
I want to hear from my colleagues on this side and vote this side.
I'd like to see direction of raising it to 30,000 in an ordinance personally.
I would give you direction, give some options and prices, maybe 30, 50. Keep hearing 50, but 50.
30 and
We
50,
can
I
vote
wouldn't
on
mind
it
seeing
next
it.
time and see.
Sell me. That's up to you, George. You got to sell me.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I agree, I want 50,000.
You don't have to decide that now. It's just if I'm going to start spending the time on preparing the documents.
Spend the time. I'd make a motion. We give direction to spend the time on revising the ordinance with some options.
We have a first,
I would take
That's
it.
direction, I guess.
yeah, we have for a direction.
Do I have direction from 3?
Yeah, I guess so. I have direction for 3, yes. Okay. All right, let's move on, so everybody can go home. Reports and communications from city attorney.
None.
None? Okay, reports and communications from the city manager.
Yes, I have a couple of reports. I like Andrea. She has a little report to give to you, an update on various matters. And then after that, I'm going to ask Jesse to give her update about the building permits and so forth. So
Okay.
Andrea, would you like to give a very brief update?
Yeah, this is a brief update. The next meeting, you'll have your bigger update. Just to give you guys a heads up, April is when we start receiving our revenue from the county. So we did receive our property taxes. And they came in, we actually received over $1 million for the property taxes. So they just came in on 4/30. So I want to just give you a heads up that those came in.
I understand, Andrea, that it was quite substantially more than previous year.
Yes, this is the highest it's ever been. The housing is finally starting to catch up with, the houses go in, but it takes a while. And then as the increase comes, so this has been our biggest check from the county for property taxes. We do have our bank accounts, just our total cash we have right now is just shy of 12 million with, we have 6 different bank accounts. And then we have our receivables of close to 500,000. That includes the CDCR information, Caltrans, which we renegotiated with Caltrans on the street cleaning to up that price. So, and then we have our little 4-H bill. The other thing we started doing is on our quarterly invoicing that we do for receivables, like for SGM and CDCR and ARSA. We always bill them quarterly, and we used to bill them at the end of the quarter. So we were always behind. So we started billing them at the front. So for April, May, and June, we sent the bill out in April. instead of June. So then they pay it midway, so we're both kind of splitting the difference. So that's why hopefully the money will come in before the end of the fiscal year, because we've already sent out the billing. Also, some other recent checks, if you guys are interested, we did tell you earlier, we got the train depot reimbursement. That's the first reimbursement we've had on that grant. We also received, Debbie's not here, but there was another grant, the OES and the FEMA grants that's been outstanding. She was able to bring fruition to that one, and we received $21,000 for that one. ARSA paid their payment, and what was really nice is SGM, we sent a bill on like 4/1, and they paid it by 4/13 for their water for the tertiary plant. And then we also get our PG&E franchise payments in. So our interest for the year, if you guys, I know we give you this every month, we're at 28,336 for this month, which brings us to a total of 316 for the year. And then we'll be getting in a lot of more of the checks from the state and the BLF swap and all that kind of cleanup stuff. They're not as big as substantial as the one we get for the property tax, but it'll still be the revenue coming in. And this will be all at the next meeting on your report. And then real quick, I just had for RRM, I know there was several, we have paid since 6/24/25, 6 invoices. That range from 21 to 5,000 for a total of 81,375 for the RRM. And I think that's it.
Thank you, Andrea.
Kendra. And now Jesse has a report with respect to, a very brief report with respect to building permits.
Real quick, I'd like to mention Jesse's relatively new here, been doing an outstanding job. She works in the building department, and she's been just a huge, huge help, along with Janice and everybody else. I can't give the staff enough credit. So please, Jesse.
Thank you for that. Yes, I did come on with the city at the end of last year with the building department on any given week. I'm extremely busy with incoming applications and current open projects. On average, I have about 20 to 25 projects that are in plan review going through verification with all the different departments. You'll see in my report that I connected to this month or today's agenda that in the last 2 months, we had 24 permits that were actually issued. That totaled around $62,500. Currently, right now, I have 7 home permits I'm going to be issuing soon. About a total of 150 coming in on that, plus additional expenditures that are going to be coming. So great revenue coming in through the building department right now. We're always active. We recently had the amphitheater that's gone through its final, and that project's going to be closing soon. We had AWA out at the train depot hooking up their water. I know we're working on some bathrooms. It is with a lot of volunteer work, but we'll be getting those inspections done and getting those bathrooms done to hopefully get that park open sooner than later. I have had multiple calls from the public on that park, so getting that done. I know people are excited about it. I have mothers calling saying, I want to do a birthday party there, so getting this done is really, really important. Also, there's a growth right now in solar battery or Tesla Powerwall batteries being replaced. Be careful with those because once they start swelling, they become a fire hazard in your home. So if your solar is getting older, make sure you're checking that. We're also coming into our wonderful Ione hot summer months. Thank God I haven't experienced the full summer yet, but we will. We have ducts that need to be replaced, your HVAC systems, get them looked at, make sure you don't need them replaced, you don't need them serviced. Because also I, again, have about 20 to 25 projects going, and I don't want you guys in the middle of a heat wave without being able to have your unit function. So if you guys ever have any questions or concerns, please just give me a call. We do inspections Mondays and Wednesdays, 9 to 12. Make sure that you speak to me so that I can actually get you on the schedule. We do wear multiple hats in City Hall. So if you leave a message or an email, it's not guaranteed to get you on the actual schedule. You need to speak with me so I can make sure that you're in there and I'll explain time and everything.
Well, thank you, Jesse. I think you need to get a little more busy. Don't have enough on your plate. Is that all you have, Mr. Lee?
No, the other thing I want to remind everyone, as everyone already probably knows, the Friday, Saturday is homecoming. So I look forward to a very successful event. Public Works, the Picnic Association have been doing a lot of work to get that site ready. the Lou Yeager and his son has been doing a lot of work over there picnic at the Howard Park in terms of grading and getting the park in very, very good shape. And they're donating their time to do that.
I was out there yesterday and they are donating a lot of equipment and material and time.
And finally, over the next 30 to 60 days, if things go the way they are, one of my top priorities has been to develop ways to increase the city's sales revenue. As I've often said, we don't have an expense problem. We have a revenue problem. For the past 15 years, 20 years, whatever you want to call it, the city has been living on building permits and impact fees only. At some point, those run out. So what the city has not done is develop a regular source of sales revenue. And that is my top priority. So again, I hope to have some things materialize in the very, very near future and exciting things to come in the future.
Thank you, sir. Okay, council comments, committee reports, or future agenda items. Councilmember LaFane.
I would like to point out once again, giving presentations that are not agendized at the end of the meeting. So nobody who isn't here knew that there was going to be a financial update. We could have Andrea give that in the beginning of the meeting so everybody can hear it. And that's a violation of the Brown Act. There's no due process to anybody who's not here or who has viewed the agenda. As well, that was very informative. She should be put on the agenda in her presentations. That's my 2 cents on that. We keep going outside the agenda and giving presentations.
Councilman Atlan.
Yeah, I got a couple of things. First of all, there's a bunch of lights out on Fairway Drive, street lights. I drive down there every morning. There's at least 3, but there may be more. I would just ask someone, I don't know what time public work starts, or maybe the police, when they're driving around, just make a note of the lights that are out and report it to the city. I would also like a budget, been asking this for a couple of months, but maybe I'll get it this time. What I'd like to is a profit and loss for the first 3 months of running the arena. We've heard all the great things and all the business out there, and I'd like to see what the numbers are. So January, February, March, first quarter, I'd like to get the expenses for the arena. Also, I'd like a budget for the police station. At the last meeting, we were told that it's going to need a lot more work than we were originally told. I'd just like to know what that is. I'd like to know what the time frame is on that. Also, I'd like to know is where are we paying Doug Knudsen out of what fund? Because now we're paying the rent and the mortgage. So I'd like to hear about that, where that's coming from. Also, I think we have a massive problem with the city that we don't have an HR department, or we have one that's like stretched thin or, very temporary. We got to address that. We got to address that we have no HR in the city of Ione. And on the same token, I think we also need a police department oversight committee, which many cities have, where there's a group of citizens. So if there's a problem with the police department, where you want to file a complaint or something, then you got someone that you can go to other than a police officer. So I'd like that looked at as well. And that could be a volunteer position, not going to cost anything. But we just seem to have nowhere to go when you have a complaint about something, right? You're complaining to the people that you're complaining about, and we all know that that's going to go nowhere. So those are my comments.
Councilman Mitchell.
For the next half hour, I'd like to just. I was just kidding. Just kidding. Had the chance to attend Miss Ione, and man, congratulations to Grace Doris, 2026 Miss Ione, and her court, Georgiana Calistini, Kaya Bell, and Juliana Howe. I hope I see you guys out at homecoming, but you got 4 amazing young ladies. It's tough to always see one crown, but they're all princesses. They all got crowns, and they all should be crowned. Really made a spectacular show, and just shows me how wonderful the kids are out there. These are exceptional young ladies. So I hope you get to meet them at homecoming, and I hope to see you guys all out there. Thanks.
Vice Mayor Rhodes.
I have nothing, so I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I have something, but I just want to mention, hey, if you guys like to hear it my way, We're gonna have a Frank Sinatra concert coming up at the amphitheater on May 29th. So it'll be a great event. So Scooby Dooby Doo. So Ooby Dooby Doo. All right. Motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Hi, thank you.
Oh, that's another key.